Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Green back with yet another review, and right now I'm about to break y'all off with my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the latest M. Night Shyamalan film, A Knock at the Cabin. And this movie is actually based on the book, The Cabin at the End of the World, written by Paul Tremblay. And it was adapted for the big screen by M. Night Shyamalan himself, along with Steve Desmond. Now, for those of y'all out there who have no idea what this film is all about, we are following this family that's been held hostage by four knuckleheads talking about, yo, one of y'all has to decide who's gonna get sacrificed or else the end of the world is coming. We talking about the apocalypse, baby. It's some heavy stuff. Now, whenever I hear about an M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out, I'm definitely gonna be intrigued. You're not always gonna know what you're gonna get, but you know you're gonna get something interesting. So it was the premise of this movie and M. Night Shyamalan's name attached that really sold me. I mean, the premise seems pretty straightforward, yet at the same time, it looks like there's a lot to be uncovered. Like, why them? Is the world really ending, or are these people that have taken them hostage on that hot sauce? And is someone actually really gonna have to be sacrificed? What's about to jump off? Inquiring minds wanna know. Now, I would say that upon first viewing, I definitely liked this movie quite a bit, but at the same time, I still walked out feeling like I wanted more. Let me explain. Now, I feel like this movie starts out hot. We're introduced to this little girl, she's catching grasshoppers in the woods, it's a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden, Leonard walks up.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken.
Why is it broken?
Because of what I have to do today.
Now, right away, as soon as this scene jumps off, I'm like tense immediately. One, I already know what's about to jump off. I've seen the trailer. But two, I put myself in the position of her two dads. If I'm a father, the optics of a big Dave Bautista looking mother effer coming up to my little girl trying to be her friend in the middle of the woods when ain't nobody else around makes me a little rattled, a little unsettled, a little nervous, if you will. The way this whole scene plays out had me hanging on their entire conversation, every word, wondering what's about to jump off, how's this thing gonna get started. And the way that M. Night actually directs this scene and pretty much all the entire film made me feel like it was kind of something that we would get from Hitchcock or even like a Stanley Kubrick, old school swag. We're talking about shots where they're lingering on one person, but somebody else is like out of frame talking to that person. So there's a different level of attention you're paying to how the conversation is playing out, the scene, the situation. We got some shots where people are like obscure in the distance. They're doing things. They're maybe coming for you. So you kind of feel a little unsettled with that. Then there's shots where people aren't even fully in the frame, but they're doing something important and you know maybe what they're doing. And all you're hearing is like sounds and things of that nature from what they're doing to let your imagination kind of run wild. And we even get some tight shots on the hostage takers' faces showing maybe like the weight and the emotion that they feel trying to carry out this task. Like, do they really want to be there? How did they get into this position? What does this mean for them? So it does give you a slight touch of you're invested in them as well as our protagonist. We kind of want to understand a little bit of both sides of the fence, if you will. So the directing style and choices, I was definitely feeling from the beginning of the film to the very end, and it made a lot of the things that were jumping off creepy as hell. So if I'm addressing the acting quality, M. Night's direction, the score, which was, I thought, great throughout the entire film, definitely building tension and suspense throughout, I think those elements are for sure where this movie shines. But like I said, the trailer's pretty straightforward. Tells us what's going on from the jump. So going into this film, I want to learn a little bit more about the characters, their situation, why they're here, why is it these hostage takers, these people coming to get this particular family. And I feel that this movie missed me with a little bit of that development that would have invested me more into both the protagonist and antagonist and the task at hand. I mean, in this movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy all address shared visions, timelines to which they have to complete the mission by. So that's all really intriguing. Damn, how did these four different people from different walks of life come together with all of the same vision and timeline and knowledge? How'd they all come together? What's their deal? What's their real backstory? What's the deeper levels to them that's gonna make me feel bad for them? Like, oh man, sucks that y'all had to be the ones to carry out this task because there's some consequences that they have if they don't accomplish this mission. I ain't gonna spoil it, you gotta see the film. But there are definitely some things that are weighing on them. But even though we're not getting like a straight deep dive into their backstory, the characters do talk about family, friends, maybe a little touch of their jobs that they had before they came to this time and position. But I'm thinking like, okay, if you can talk about those things, then you still are of somewhat sound mind and body, even though you know that there's like another calling that you have to accomplish this task, right? So I'm kind of I'm not really understanding why can't you be a little bit more specific when talking to dad, and daughter about how real this situation is in a way to convince them that, yo, y'all really need to do this because the longer that you take and the more times you choose not to choose somebody to sacrifice, more people are going to die. What I'm saying is that they are extremely vague throughout the entire film. So every time they ask them, look, have y'all made the choice to sacrifice? They're so vague and the family obviously doesn't believe them. They just think they're crazy. And it's just kind of like we see the same thing again and again and again. And in a way, for me, it kind of made the movie slow down so much so in the middle that I was almost checked out for a minute. It just never seemed like the reasons that they were there kept them under embargo or had them sign an NDA before they actually took this job. So the fact that they're so vague just doesn't make sense to me. Another thing that didn't fully work for me in this movie, or maybe I just missed it for some reason, was that there are flashbacks that both of the dads are having. And it feels like that the movie is trying to go back and forth between the flashbacks and their current situation and tie it together in a way to give us maybe a deeper thought or deeper perspective on what's jumping off. But it doesn't truly develop that, in my opinion, and it doesn't really build on top of that, in my opinion, so that when the end of the movie eventually comes, it wasn't like we needed those flashbacks to learn enough about the characters that we couldn't conclude on our own to understand why they make some of the choices that they're making, or even anything new about the hostage takers and why they feel the type of way that they feel. So I just felt, again, that type of a thing was what made the middle of the film come to a screeching halt for me. And again, I almost checked out. Now I want to slide over to a little bit of acting and address Dave Bautista right quick. I find myself looking forward to him in films more and more every time I see him coming out with something because of the fact of what he's choosing to do and how far he's choosing to reach his abilities. I'm not saying he's the best actor in the world, but you can tell that he's really trying to step out of his comfort zone with a lot of these roles, so big ups to him. And I do personally feel like this is a Dave Bautista-led movie. There's other great actors around him, yes, but he's carrying this movie on his broad ass shoulders, and I think he did a great job. So I just wanted to give big ups to Dave Bautista for that. And now, my final thoughts. So, I liked it quite a bit, but I didn't love it. I am looking forward to seeing it again. Hopefully when I see it again, maybe I'll catch some of those finer details that'll make me feel a different type of way about it, a better way about it. With all that said, I do think that with Dave Bautista's acting, and everything that you got jumping off as far as the plot and the premise of the film being very interesting, very intriguing all the way through, and M. Night Shyamalan's direction, I think this one is worthy of a trip to the theater. I suggest you go check it out. And if you do check it out, let me know in the comments below what you think about it, okay? With all that said, do your homie a favor, like, subscribe. You know, it really helps me out, and I appreciate y'all for that. Love y'all for that, and I'm gonna be back in the next one. Your homie, Jay Green, I'm out.